Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. Today we're talking about some really simple book page embellishments. I'll show you everything I've got here in a little bit more detail later, but for now I just want to show you the general idea so you know what it's all about. Alright, so keep an eye on the book pages. We've got some tags. Then we have some embellishments like these that remind me of wedding invitations. See? Then we have some of these embellishments on a narrow strip that I think will look good as little belly bands in a journal. Next we have some collaged pieces like this. Then we have some embellished paper bags like this. Then we have cards. Some envelopes. And some little single pieces that can be put on pretty much anything. So you might have noticed the common thread in these projects, which is of course the book page. The book page is the star of the show and the possibilities are endless. So how do you make these? All of these? Let me show you. All right, let's work backwards just so you can see how incredibly simple this idea is. This is my will be embellishment and I've got layers. Just some pieces of paper and a focal point, and the star of the show, which is the book page that I ripped a certain way, folded a certain way, and inked a certain way. And then when you put it all together, you get a beautiful embellishment like this. It's very simple, but it looks very rich. This can be placed on a cover of a journal. You can do so many things with this idea. You are only limited by your imagination. All right, let me show you how to fold those book pages and then we'll make some projects together. All right, so you need some book pages. Oh, I love finding surprises like this. I'm nearly actually finished with this book. This is quite an old book and the pages are quite frail. It was discarded by the library, so I don't feel bad about destroying books when they were sent to be destroyed anyway. All right, so you have your book page and now we're going to rip the edges. I like to maybe have a little spike on both sides, so I'll rip it something like this. Each one is going to be different. Then here I might do something like this. I don't want straight edges, if that makes sense. Here we go, something like this. Okay, so there's one. I also keep all of these pieces because I want to make some handmade paper and I think that's going to look good. All right, let's do more ripping. There's another one. You can even make it a little bit more fun by adding some watercolor onto your book pages. All right, here we go. So you can see that every time you rip a page, it's going to look completely different. What I am aiming for, like I said, is I like to have some spikes. I don't want any straight edges because there's already going to be straight edges when we're doing the folding. It will all make sense in a moment. So here's one with the straight edge. That's okay. We will make it work. I'm going to keep it here. The more frail your book pages, like these two here, the easier to manipulate into the shape that you want. But you can still make it work like I did with these ones, book pages that are not so frail. Okay, so now let me show you how to fold. Let's start with this one. I'm going to make something with all of these book pages. And now you can just play around and see what works. I'm going to do something like, let's say, they're all, like I said, they're all going to look different. Here we go. I think that looks okay. So all I did is I folded one side over the top of the other side. And when you look at it like this, it's nothing much, right? It's what you do with it that makes it special in the end. Okay, so there's one. Let's do this one now. Some folds are going to look more amazing than others, but they all look nice in projects in the end. So something like this that's quite wide, I don't know, I might want to fold it 3 times. Or maybe not, actually. I actually like this one the way it is, so I'm going to leave it. Most of the projects that I've done, I've only folded it like this. So just once over the top like that. This one here, I folded 3 times. So instead of, this was over here on this side, and then I just folded it back again. So let me just show you. I folded it this way. and then kind of this way again. So you can play around to your heart's content to get, you know, the desired effect, I guess. All right, let's see what we can do with this one. These watercolored pages are fun because when you fold them, only one side is watercolored, the other side isn't. So when you fold it, you get to see the other side. So you have two different colors, which is quite cool. I like that look. And sometimes, you know, you might do a fold that's not working. So just play around, maybe go the other way until it kind of works for you. Not bad. And let's do one last one. Might sort of try and spread it out a little bit. And there we go. All right, now that my pages are folded, I'm going to ink the edges next. But, so you will, when you do your folds, you will always have two completely straight edges. So here's one, and here's the other one. And all of them will have those two completely straight edges. I want to draw attention away from the straight edges, and the way that I do that is by not inking them. So here we go. I'm only inking the ripped edges and only on the side that's going to be shown. So I'm not going to waste my time inking the back of this because it's going to be glued down. And here's how it looks with those inked edges. So you can see, here's up close. Those ripped edges have been inked and the straight edges have not, because I'm trying to kind of draw attention away from the straight edge. Even though I think it'll probably look nice. Let's see how it looks. I haven't even tried it, to be honest. It looks quite nice. It might even look better. So totally personal choice what you do. Now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges on all of the ones that I have just done, and then we can start making the projects. I really like this one here because it has a narrow point here where I can tie a piece of string or something like that. This one here, you can see it's quite straight up and down, it's quite wide. So for something like this, instead of accentuating the non-existent waist, I cover it, right? So I'll show you these two examples. You can see here, this one kind of has that, let's call it a waist, okay? And I am accentuating it by placing a little piece of string around it, or I'm bringing attention to it by placing my focal point right in that middle part there. For something like this that didn't really have much of a curve, it was like very straight up and down, I covered the whole thing with some scrapbook paper and placed my focal point right over the top. Here are another two examples just to drive at home. On this one here, you can see it has nice little waist over here. I'm accentuating it by adding that string so the eye goes, you know, directly there. And then this one here, it was straight up and down, and I covered the whole thing with my focal point. So going back to this, you don't have to struggle too much to get that fold perfect. It really doesn't matter how it looks. You can make it work. And what makes it fun is that they all look completely different. So now I'm going to make something with all of this. But before I start, I'm just going to place a tiny little bit of glue here. Just a little bit right there in the middle to hold that closed. And then a little bit of glue here. And that's holding it closed. It's much easier to see what you have to work with when you do this step before you start. And I'm only gluing that middle part just in there. I'm not gluing the whole section to the section underneath because I really like how 3D it looks when it's, you see, it's not glued down. So it gives the whole project a different kind of look than it would if it was completely glued down flat like that. I just love that 3D look. It reminds me of a graduating diploma or a scroll. Okay, here they are. They're all ready to go, and now I'm gonna make some projects with them. First thing I'm gonna make is a card, because why not? Just using a piece of cardstock. I'm gonna choose which embellishment kind of fits and which one looks good. I might do something with this. It's not my first choice, but I'm just gonna wing it today, and I'm just gonna go with it, and hopefully it's gonna turn out good. How would it look if I overlay it with something like this, something on an angle? Have a little focal point here. Maybe I can start off with popping some scrapbook paper down onto this craft cardstock. Let's do that. I've got this scrapbook paper from previous projects, you know, just testing things out. I like this side better, so I'm just gonna go with this side. I'm not very much into card making, so what I would do with something like this is just bind a few pages in here, and that's like a little mini journal. But it can also be a card. I might ink some edges. It just finishes everything off nicely. I'm gonna have this over here. Then I want to overlay it with this. Do I? I mean, I'm not sure if I do. Is that gonna look good? I don't know until I do it. Something like that. That doesn't look too bad. All right, here comes the gluing. This is another thing I wanted to mention. When I'm gluing this piece onto whatever it's going onto, I'm gluing this whole section, just the very bottom section. So I'm not gluing these pieces because I want that 3D effect. So I'm gonna pop glue over this whole thing. The hardest part is choosing what you're gonna put on there, so you just kind of grab some stuff that you have, and I'm not too keen on this particular project at the moment, so I'm trying to find ways of making it look better. I'm just adding one of those bottom strips from scrapbook papers. If I do something like this, for example, I'm thinking this butterfly because it's kind of ties in with the orange under here, so I'm just gonna try and think of something. I think I know what I'm gonna do, and you know, you can always make it work, and when you're not happy with a project, you just keep working on it until you come up with something. So I'm thinking I'm gonna pop this down, but I might ink some edges because I'm obsessed with inking edges. So because I don't like this crisscross thing that's happening, I'm trying to draw attention away from it. So I'm trying to accentuate one part, kind of make it stand out a bit more. Maybe add a little bit of something gold. And now I'm going to glue this whole piece onto that cardstock. And here we go. I mean, it's not the greatest thing ever made, but you can see, like, you can have it really simple like this. You can have it really simple like this. This is one of the first ones that I made, and I just added a tiny little strip of scrapbook paper, and there's the card. This one here, I added my faux, what are they called? Faux seals. These babies, faux wax seals. I have a whole bag of them, and I have a tutorial on making them with hot glue, so I will link them down below if you want to have a look. But I think those little faux wax seals look beautiful, or even real wax seals if you've got real wax seals, or even stickers. I have some of these stickers, and you can see I used one on here. I think it looks beautiful, absolutely stunning. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. Here is another card that I made. I'm calling them cards, but I would bind in a few pages, like I said, to make them mini journals. And here I just laid again some pieces of scrapbook paper and a little focal point, a little butterfly there in the middle, and there it is. I can't fit them all in here, but they all kind of have a different look and a different feel, and the more I'm looking at this one, the more I like it. But it's still not great, so let me redeem myself. Next thing I'm going to make is a tag. I'm going to do a large tag. That's going to be my tag shape, and now I'm using my plastic card tag template thing that I use to cut out, you know, and make tag shapes. Here we go. And now I'm going to choose one of these. Maybe something like this one will look nice, this watercolored one. And now I'm going to start layering. I'm only trying to use up my scrap pieces of paper. I mean, I do have a lot more scrap paper than this, but I'm just trying to kind of work in that one pile. So I'm going to choose some papers. And I'm thinking, because this tag, this piece of paper has a waist. I mean, I'm calling it a waist, but you know what I mean. I want to accentuate the waist rather than hide it. Kind of like when you know, when you're dressing yourself, you want to accentuate the good parts and hide the not so flattering parts. I'm just looking at what kind of goes. I'm going to speed this up and be back when the decision is made. I think I've made a decision. This is going to be my focal point, and I'm just using a scrap piece of cardstock. To that cardstock, I'm going to layer that somehow and I'm going to shorten this because I feel like it's too wide. Everything will be speeded up, so let's go. I made a little belt over here, just holding it closed with some masking tape. Belt on the waist. All right, I glued that on there, and now that's gonna go underneath here. So it's going to look like this. And now I don't know, maybe the belt needs a buckle. I know I'm kind of complicating things now, but I just felt like I wanted something on there, and I think it's gonna look nicer. So now I'm just gonna go and glue all of these pieces together. And then, like I said before, just gluing that very bottom piece down. And for the final touch, I added some sewing all around, and there's my tag. I'm not sure that I redeemed myself. I'm not 100% overly excited about it, but here are the other ones that I made. Just for some inspiration and ideas, you can see this one here, layering 3 pieces. There's not much. There's only 3 pieces of scrapbook paper that are layered, and a focal point here, and that's all it is. But it looks, when you look at it like this, it looks quite rich, and we can go ahead and add a tag top up there to make it even more rich. So we're basically just using some scrapbook scraps, right? Scraps pieces of paper, and it looks absolutely beautiful, I think, anyway. And then this one here as well, I did a strip going this way underneath. It's kind of like a tab tag, I guess. I don't know, what would you call it? And here, this is actually from a tablecloth, a plastic tablecloth, and I just glued that down, and there it is. And then of course this one here that I've just made. All right, so now I thought maybe we can do something really simple, because this still, you know, it's not elaborate, but we're layering quite a bit. We're using, you know, gluing and all that stuff. Let's do something really simple. So for example, I have this leftover piece from what I was just using. I'm going to pop this embellishment on there, or book page. It's not really showing up much, so let's go with this one here. I'm going to grab a little bit of twine and wrap it around. I think with this project, the possibilities are truly endless, and I think sometimes when there's too much choice, it can get overwhelming. So the best course of action is just to keep it simple. And I'm not telling you this, I'm really saying this to myself. So I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to hold that in place with some masking tape. Glue the piece directly down onto that scrapbook paper. I want to have a little something in there, so perhaps maybe something like that, or a little bow. That looks nice, kind of hides that twine underneath, which defeats the purpose of it. Maybe a little tag in there. See what I mean? Really anything goes. A sticker. In my opinion, they all work, and now it's the decision time. I'm just gonna go with this. And now personally, what I would do with this is the following. So I have my journal. This one's on the large size, but let's find a page, any page. Let's go this one here. And then I glue the top here and the bottom here. And then of course, you know, something that fits in there. It probably would fit, but there we go. So it's like a belly band, right? And it makes the page look really rich. And perhaps I wouldn't use it on a page that you can write on. Perhaps I would choose maybe something like this, a coloring page or a book page. I'm not sure if I have book pages in here. Here's a book page, and you can't write on it, you know, so maybe you can utilize that for a little belly band like that. And look how beautiful that looks. And it's very simple. We just added a piece of twine and just a little bit of something, and as you've seen, anything goes. Anything you put on there looks good. So let me show you some other examples of belly bands. This one, I just put a little bow on there. That's all. Oh, actually it has a little belt type of a thing underneath. So that's that one. Then here, again, I popped a little bit of twine you can see there, and this beautiful sticker, this feather sticker. I was actually looking for a quill die cut or a sticker, like imagine something like this, right? A smaller version of this and paper version of this on a project like this. It just goes so well together. So on this one, very simple, just stuck down a sticker of a butterfly or a die cut. Very, very simple, very effective. And here, just a butterfly die cut with a little gold thing underneath. And then this one here as well, this is quite a tall belly band, you could say. And I left that open for this little tag, just to make it a little bit more interactive. And then of course this I can use as a belly band like we just did before, or as a page, as a pocket. So imagine this is my page. Here's a page, let's say, and if I stick this down and I glue down the 3 edges, that turns into a pocket and I can put stuff in there. And it's just beautiful and interactive because we have that little one that comes out, and it's just fun. All right, another thing I wanted to show you is another variation. I'm not hugely excited about this, but I do like it. So these are paper bags, and what I did is stack 2 together. So something like this, right? And then you pop them together, and then, I mean, you could even go crazy and make really large flowers. Oh, look at that. Throwing out some ideas. Look at this. These ones here, I have a video on this. It's actually one of the first videos I've done. It's one of those Hawaiian lei necklace things. I'm not sure what they're called. And I made them, you know, with some color, some crazy color like hot pink. And, you know, anyway, throwing out ideas. Look. That looks really, really cool. Oh, I love this. Love it, love it, love it. So you could do something like that. Or you have a little paper bag, you want to make it look special, so you can grab 2 of these. Let's try something like this. And you know where I'm going with this. You just need a little focal point. Here's my little bag of butterflies, all the butterflies I have, something like this. So you're basically stacking them, or you can just use one like we've been doing so far, and it's still going to look really nice. I like that better than stacking them, but like I said, we're just throwing out ideas. If you have them ready made in advance, you can just, you know, if you have a box of these, you just fold your papers, you glue your focal points down, and then they're ready to go. So as you're embellishing journals, I think that looks so beautiful. You know, you can just come into your box, grab one piece and pop it down, and off you go. So I think it's a good idea sometimes to just make a whole heap rather than thinking of how you're going to layer them, what you're going to put down. You just have a whole heap of single ones, and then if you need it for a paper bag, you just come in, you pop it on. Same thing for something like this, for example, an envelope. All I did is glued it onto the flap without gluing the envelope shut. And for this type of thing, flowers are perfect because they can go either way. Whereas if you have something like this, a butterfly, and you put it down, I mean, butterflies do kind of fly around, you know, they don't have to be sitting up this way, so it still looks natural when you have it this way. But anyway, that's another idea. You can use it on an envelope. Perhaps you can use the ones that are not great shape. These are the very first 2 little things that I made. So I still have these 3 to make something with. And I'm really drawn to making something like this. These pieces here are chipboard that I painted gold and black, and it's just wooden little thin chipboards. I think I might perhaps make something similar to this. So I'm just choosing colors that kind of go together. I have just realized, because I'm using scraps, I just realized this one here has a rip, a cut, and I'm adamant to use this piece, so I'm gonna have to think of a way to hide it and make it work. So here's how this one is going. And now the final thing that I need to do is add a little embellishment there just to finish it off. And I have another one of these little chipboard pieces which would look beautiful, but I would paint it, but I don't have time to paint it now, so I'm not going to use that. A little bow like this, glued down with a little brad or something in here, will look quite nice. Maybe a die cut like this, but I think the butterfly looks the best. So on it goes. And I quite like it. At first, in most of the projects I've done today, I didn't like, and then the more I kind of look at them, the more I like them. So anyway, that's that. I don't think I'll have time to make another one. Even though I do have 2 pieces left, let's see what I've got on my desk. I have one massive butterfly. What's over here? So I could just do something like that later. Something like that. Something like that. You know, you just play around with layering. I think I kind of gave you some ideas, I hope. So that's why I wanted to show you this as well. So actually this is the very first one that I did, and that's kind of how the idea happened. I had a book page sitting on my desk, and I didn't know what to do with it. I was cleaning my desk, and then I just kind of folded it, and here it is. Got a book page, a tea bag, the fold thing that we did, and then 3 pieces: fabric, tablecloth, plastic tablecloth, and a little sentiment here. And this is a little something, right? Here we've got only 3 pieces. Very easy, very simple, and I love this. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. Very true. Sometimes you have non-creative days, which is kind of like, I don't know what's happening with me today. I feel like those projects that I've done could have been better, but anyway, I'm quite happy. I'm not complaining. And here there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of scrapbook paper just layered, right? We have some we don't have any triangles. Rectangles going this way, some squares here, some, you're just layering, right? And then you put this irregular sheep. I can't talk. You put this regular sheet of paper. I give up. What I'm trying to say is, you have perfect shapes. You have a square, you have a rectangle, you're layering them, and then you destroy it all by placing down an irregular sheet of paper right there in the middle. And it just has a really nice effect. I love that. I really wanted to use this die cut, but I didn't actually get a chance to use it today. Maybe I'll just use it now. Because really, I've done mainly projects today and prior to this filming of this video. But what I really want to do is make a whole heap of these little embellishments, kind of like what I was talking about before, and just have it ready to go. And butterflies seriously are such a cop-out, because you put a butterfly on anything and it's going to look good. So which one is your favorite one? We've got these collaged embellishments. Then we've got these wedding invitations, which are not at all wedding invitations. Then we've got the tags. Tags. Then we've got some cards. I think my favorite one is this one here. Very elegant. This one's quite messy. I still like it. I accept you, my dear, just the way that you are. Then we have some stacked ones. There's only 2. These paper bags, some envelopes, and then we've got some belly bands. And then, of course, we have these single ones that are gonna go in yet another box that I'm gonna have in my craft room. What do you think about this? Are you feeling inspired? Did you make some with me? Did you get lots of ideas? Did you enjoy this video? Please let me know. Today was supposed to be a different video, but I didn't finish it on time. And because I always like to have lots of examples to show you, I was working like mad last night, just folding them, inking them, layering, making them up. I hope it's not all in vain. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you think it's a good idea. All right, thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!